and welcome back to Money 2020's Daily Wrap here on day 3 at Money 2020 Europe 2022. I am Scarlett Sieber, your Chief Strategy and Growth Officer, and today and the last day of the show, I get the best guest, yes, I might say, Tracy Davies,
Yay.
our president.
Excited to be here.
Amazing. Okay, Tracy, we're on day 3. We're just about done.
Home straight.
Home stretch. Tell me about the week. What stuck out for you? I know you can't always pick a favorite, but what are the first things that come to your mind?
Oh, that's such a hard question. You always ask the hardest questions. I'm going to say everything. What I mean by that is the overall feel. You know, I love when everyone's arrived, that they come through that amazing entrance and we've put our customers on the stage. They are what this show is about. And I think that sums up everything that I love about Money 2020, that it's about our customers. But the content's been great. The food's been great. Again, we've had so much feedback. I know that sounds crazy, but you know the whole experience here. I can't pick out anything. I'm going to say the whole thing. Cop-out answer, I know.
We got so much time with you on the stage this year in different places. Can you just talk a little bit about the conversations that you had, what kind of resonated, and because there were some amazing people, women, men, you name it. Just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I was really lucky this year because I chaired a session at our club, the Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll Club. And it is a club, but with a little stage in the middle. So yesterday I had the really fabulous opportunity to interview Kahina Van Dyke from Standard Chartered. I'm not sure I interviewed her because she is an amazing, energetic, kick-ass woman, and she just lit up that stage. I know she'd been on the big picture stage earlier in the day, a great conversation about, fintechs and banks. And then I got to have a sort of one-on-one with her. And, it was really interesting. She talked about the culture of banking and how that's changing, how it has to change. And, the work that she's been doing at Standard Chartered. So I know a lot of people loved that session. It was electric. I really loved it. It was a great privilege and honor for me to see her here. And she's such a role model for so many women in this industry. And, she was mobbed afterwards. And so for me, that was a personal highlight to see that and to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think that was a very special moment. And what I love about the way that we've created the stages this year and the environment is, you talked about the Sex, Drugs, Rock and Roll Club, and it did feel like, of course she's going to get mobbed, but it's as opposed to feeling like this huge figure somewhere so far away where you're looking up to like this, you're actually sitting there and it feels like you're getting a cocktail with her.
Well, we did have cocktails.
Exactly.
We did have cocktails while we were talking. And I think that's it. People feel, look, it's really important to have these big stages here and those big sessions, but people want to have that conversation. So for me, it was more like a conversation. It's a really intimate space. But, there were a few hundred people there watching that session. So, that was a really nice moment because I think people feel that they get that interaction and they take something very personal from that. And then, a lot of them spoke to Kahina afterwards. But that was a big moment.
And the nice part is it humanizes all of us. We are all humans at the end of the day, and so much of what happens here is about those connection points.
Yeah.
But we talk about it too. It's what we do while we're on site, and you're getting educated, you're learning, you're getting inspired. But a lot of those networking things were happening later too. We wanted to make it happen during the day, which I think is quite powerful.
Well, you could light up a small country, I think, with the energy coming off the Connections Lounge, where people connect via the app, and you know how it works. People come here, they bump into people they've known or wanted to know, and they meet them here in a serendipity way. But, there's so much plan connecting as well. And, that lounge is, on fire with thousands and thousands of meetings. And that's been, we're talking about the content and the stages, but, Money 2020 is about connections. It's about how that comes about. And that has been great to watch. I've loved that.
It is. It's so much fun seeing people connect and getting those sparks fired. So you talked about Kahina Van Dyke, obviously powerhouse woman. We had another powerhouse woman today. Let's go back to today. We had Helen Hai from Binance on the main stage. And we have a great clip of her now, actually. So go ahead and take a look.
So for me, I think the ultimate goal of blockchain is free transfer of values.
That's
and this
amazing.
is so powerful. And then this is building on top of the free transfer of information. And then I think as shapers, it's very important, for all of us to understand decentralized, to really thinking about what's the distribution model of the profit in this round, how to not to make the same mistake we made in the last 30 years, making the world a better place is so important. And this is something personally I really find, passionate, being, in finance, trying to shape where the industry trying to go.
That was quite an amazing clip.
Yep.
Helen is another powerhouse. What I love both about the Kahina example that you gave, the Helen one that we just saw today, they were both so genuine and honest. And there was, everyone, we have little prep conversations, but they just went for it. And I think what Helen shared was about, really thinking about the impact of NFTs and are they directly always tied to crypto, and is winter coming? Feedback was winter's here, but guess what? Just like the regular stock market, this has happened before and it doesn't mean it's over. So I think the biggest thing was crypto's here to stay. It may continue to evolve and shift, but that idea is not going away.
Yeah. And, we've seen that. I mean, Money 2020 is 11 years old now, and we've seen that journey of, we have Bitcoin back at the very first show. We've gone through the cycles, the debates. We had, we had the whole, ICO, and, it goes through shifts just as, what we might call general finance has done. So, I think that's really interesting how the conversation ebbs and flows. I hear that was a great session.
As I'm sitting here and thinking, this wasn't intentional, but I'm about to talk about a third powerhouse woman that was speaking today. Tui Allen from Shopify was actually on our Impulse stage, the one that is right in front of us.
Yeah.
In the center, it's the heartbeat of our stage. Yeah. Yes, and she actually, this beautiful set that we are at now, she actually came and had an interview with us earlier today. So for all of you, take a listen to that.
The message that I want the audience to take away from my conversation today is that small business and entrepreneurs feel very overwhelmed and underserved, and it's our opportunity and responsibility to help them, boost them up so that they can actually provide the services to the economy that we need more now than ever before. And we can do that by embedding financial services, and we can do that by making it frictionless to do business around the globe. The biggest challenge small businesses are going to face over the next year is navigating and weathering the storm and the headwinds in front of us in terms of the macroeconomic climate that we're entering. And they are going to need to be very focused on expanding their customer base by leveraging global channels, not only working just within one region or one country, but actually expanding their customer base across the globe. And also expanding into new channels, whether those be social channels or whether those be new marketplaces where they can enter into selling NFTs in a digital marketplace. Being at Money 2020 is important for Shopify, as financial services and fintech are embedded in everything we do at Shopify, and bringing financial services at the point in context for the job to be done is the future of fintech.
Again, leaving feeling inspired. Now, this is a little bit unfair because Tui is a friend of mine, and it's one of those interesting ones where a friend that I had never met in person until yesterday. So we actually
Your digital friend?
Yes, and she was in the book, and because Shopify was one of the inspirations for writing the book on embedded finance, and so we did that closed-door AMA session in the exchange.
Yeah.
I convinced her to have a cocktail on stage too. Even though the cocktail stage is the other one, SEDR, we had one there and it was quite special. Shopify, to me, one of the moments that really made me feel like I had to write the book about embedded finance was Sophie and I blatantly asked her, is Shopify a fintech? And she said, it absolutely is. Is there ever a question that that's the case? Almost 50% of our revenue is coming from our fintech business, which is insane because they're sitting here and they try to make small businesses easier for them to get on their website, get a website online. But because the data that they have, they now have the ability to then go offer loans because they know more about your business than your bank does. They see the ins and outs of the transaction, and they've actually already lent more than $3 billion to their small businesses. So that's quite crazy.
And that's because they have the data, so they can see those opportunities. And that's what a lot that we talked about this week, and obviously with the book coming out. But I mean, I think there has been more not coincidentally because you have a book coming out, but embedded fintech, embedded finance, there's been so much discussion. And I know we were hosting, groups of retailers and brands here talking about the opportunity, and obviously there's a lot about buy now, pay later, but the broader opportunity for non-finance companies to use finance as an opportunity to grow their business is what it's about. I mean, that has been a big trend this week. Your book is very timely, I think, Scarlett.
So can I tell you something hilarious? You don't know this. We had that great session with the retailers.
Yeah.
One of the biggest pushbacks that we got from publishers, the ones we were talking to, was the chapter around regulation, and they said it wouldn't be relevant to people not in our industry. Yet at that lunch, you sat in there and you heard it. What were they talking about?
We've got to have the regulators involved. We've got to have a conversation with the regulators. The regulators have got to understand what the challenges are for us as retailers and brands moving into financial services, and wanted more dialogue with regulators. So your publisher, I'm afraid, they're very good, but they were wrong on that. You were right.
It was one of those things, and we talked to a handful, and we were lucky to get the one that we did. But it was that, right, where it's such an important part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So that felt very validating, I will say. You and I both love numbers, the data, spending time looking at it. Tell me some of the numbers that are sticking out most to you from the show this year.
Well, I mentioned 90 plus countries here. But we have more than 6,500 people here. We will get to the actual numbers, but we still had, even today, people coming on the final day buying tickets. So we have to verify that afterwards. So we're really pleased with that. 2,100 companies here, 350 speakers. But as you know, we've been on a real journey of the diversity on our stages. It really matters to us. So we've hit our highest ever female speaker goal at 43%. Our subject matter expert women, everyone knows, I think by now, the Rise Up program, how much we have championed subject matter expert women. So I'm, of all of the stats, I'm really proud that, again, we have an incredible lineup of women, role models, subject matter experts on our stages.
And it's been interesting to see the evolution, because obviously you've been such an advocate. It was your brainchild, Rise Up, back in 2018, and we have done things like Amplify and so on and so forth. But what's been really nice is it's actually moved from those closed behind-the-scenes sessions to main stage on the big picture stage here. And we actually have one of those sessions right now.
Fabulous.
So Lottie Delano from Move spoke to us a lot more about diversity. Check out that interview here.
The message I'd like the audience to take away from my conversation today is, as startups, we have the opportunity to build brand new cultures that do not include any bias or discrimination and are inclusive in nature. And that's what we as founders should be doing. So the key to establishing a successful culture within your business is to ensure that you have role models that embody the values and characteristics of your culture, so others within the organization have somebody and something to inspire to. The industry should be talking more about inclusion in and of itself, not just gender, not just race, but also different income groups, ensuring that products, services, companies are all solving problems for everybody in society and not just a few. Being at Money 2020 and speaking at Money 2020, first and foremost, has been a fantastic experience. It's one of the coolest conferences I've ever been to. Secondly, it's an opportunity to meet individual stakeholders within the ecosystem at all levels. I've met some fantastic people, had some great meetings, and made some real connections. Having the opportunity to speak here has also been an honor. It's given me the opportunity to share my story, what we are building at Move, and hopefully that can be an inspiration to others.
Deep breath. We're almost at the end here. We don't sleep. We sleep, but we don't sleep. Where are we going from here? What's next? Tell me what you're most excited about.
Other than the plane ride home and going home for a bit. Okay. Aside from going home for a bit and having a rest, well, it goes this way every year. Europe, fabulous. Bring on Vegas. We'll be back in our usual home in Vegas at the end of October, as we were last year. We were really lucky to bring the events back last year. So yeah, the train is about to leave the station, and next stop, Las Vegas.
And that is so interesting too, because yes, each geography has its own ecosystem, but they're getting more and more interconnected. I have to say, when we were here last month, 9 months ago, last time we were here, there was talks about Vegas coming up because those shows are much closer together.
Yeah.
But this time, I'm getting asked all the time, hey, speaking in Vegas, sponsoring in Vegas. Like, it's nice because we are, and I know this is very important to you, is we are a global brand. And yes, we have shows in different geographies, but it really is one collective ecosystem, and they're connecting more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. We know, look, we're in Europe. We've got more than 90 countries here, this week. And, we know what 80% of that will be European, 20% rest of the world. We go to Vegas, 80% America and 20% rest of the world. But both shows are becoming more global, more and more, that percentage is rising, the switch. So more and more coming in, we've got people from Australia, from Brazil, we see that in Vegas. This is a global conversation. We know money is local, of course. There is a local element, local regulation, but it's global. And, both of the shows talk about, that global-local tension, I guess.
Absolutely. I love when you say that. I'm going to take that line from you in the future. So you talked about a plane, you talked about a train. Anything else you want to share besides
Are we going to give
happening in Vegas?
exclusives today, do you think, Scarlett? Do you think we should drop
I think
exclusives?
we could. I do have the boss here, so I can ask if we can share it.
So I think, we've been doing a lot of events in between. And I think, this is the place where the community comes. But, over the years, we've also gone out to the community and we've made a commitment that we're going to do more of that. So I think we've planned like 20, 25 local events next year. We've already done, UK FinTech Week. We did Paris Blockchain Week. We did New York FinTech Week. We did
DC
for fun.
Regulators.
So I think we are now ready we're going to San Francisco, which we did last year. We are planning Mexico City.
Yes, we are. 2 people have asked me about that already today.
Fabulous. And Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv.
I know there's going to be loads more, but we're gonna drop an exclusive on those 3.
Yes, because we're talking geographies, we got to talk about those few. So Tel Aviv and Mexico City coming soon. San Francisco confirmed. July.
So you'll see more of that. So we'll announce the full program in time, so we can connect the community between. So I'm excited that we could reveal an exclusive at our own event.
I think it's E squared. We're both exhausted, but really excited.
Oh yeah. It's, I was at the London one and sadly couldn't come to the New York and DC one. And there was just so much energy there. And what was really fascinating for me is how many people came to that event who've not yet been to a Money 2020. And I know a lot of them then came here, just incredible that, opportunity. And we had such a great conversation in London with that group. And, it's that they've been really fantastic as we've come, in the build up to this. So I'm super excited about, Mexico City, Tel Aviv, and San Francisco, to name the first 3, because there will be more.
Yes, and what you said too is, so much of what we do is about the experience, it's about the connections. But what's cool too is when we have these hyper-local events, we're able to test things. The Yonder pouches that we used in the exchange, we tested in DC first to see how it worked.
I mean, what's been really interesting is, we know mobile phones are important to us, but seeing people have to put their mobile phone, the exchange is clearly a closed stage, no media, no mobile phones. And so the mobile phone having to be locked in the pouch, watching people have to do that and not be, that has been really fun. It's an important part of what that stage is about. It's an experience, as a, ask me anything, private effectively, just private with 150 people watching. But, that's been really interesting. The pouches have caused quite some talking points, I think.
It definitely has, and it is an amazing experience that you go through, but there is a strategy behind that, in that so much of it, what people want to say, they can't share in certain settings. So it's a safe space where they can really have those open conversations.
And clearly, both the shows have a look and feel, a familial feel about them, but they are very different. But I know that we're going to pick that concept up and take that into Vegas. We did something similar last year, around that. And, so there'll be elements of what customers have loved here. And I know the exchange has landed brilliantly that we'll take to Vegas. So I think that's going to be really interesting. But we do make, as we make the shows different, but with the sort of ingredients the same, but the look and feel obviously completely different. So I'm looking forward to see the cultural difference of wrestling phones off Americans versus wrestling them off Europeans. And we'll see what that throws up.
We will see it. All right, Tracy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Scarlett.
For you all, day 3, it's a wrap. Daily wrap done. Ending on the showroom floor. See you next time.
See you next time.